Hey everyone, so this is season 2, episode 6 of Marco Polo. It is titled Serpent's Terms. And so before they kind of do the opening credits of it, they start the episode off with Kaido riding up to Ahmed, and then it goes to the opening credits. And then after the opening credits, it goes into a flashback where you see Kaido's wife giving birth to Cuddlon because I think she said that to Kaido while she's giving birth that say to our son that I love him. So I'm pretty sure that I don't know, maybe or is younger than Cuddlin, but because Kaido had said that he had two other sons who were killed. So I mean, well, no, because that would mean because if she died in childbirth here, then that means that Oris is older than her. So that's what I'm assuming. I don't know. Anyway, so she's giving birth to Cuddlin, and however, it's been a long labor, and she can't really push anymore because she's weak, and the labor is not going to end until the baby's out, and so they decide to just cut the baby out of her, even though Kaido doesn't really want to do that. So then it goes to back to late 13th century, where Kublai's uncle Nayan comes with wine and asks Ahmed where the Khan is. Ahmed says he's in Xanadu at the moment, to which Nayan could have said that Ahmed should have sent word, or could have sent word back when he got word that of Nan's arrival. Ahmed tells him that he didn't tell Kublai of Nan's arrival because he knew Kublai's uncle or Nan would only come to ask a question he already knew the answer to. And Ahmed's like, well, Kublai's heading west, which I think he did this to save Kublai for himself, because from what I know in the previous episode, when Marco voices his opinion of, or his suspicion of Ahmed, he says that Ahmed is sending the troops south when Kublai is going north. So that to me sounded, so I'm pretty sure that's a lie, because he wants Kublai for himself so he can kill him and everything. Why he's telling, why he believes Nan is there, I don't know, but other than to get an answer to a question he already knows the answer to. And then Nan's like, well, the chasm between Kaido and himself is vast, and he doesn't like him. And then Nayan sees that in Ahmed's face that he turned against Kublai, and Ahmed says, "Not so much turned as come around." Which again, I feel like, as I said previously at the end of last season or last episode's recap and review, that I think Ahmed is or has been in the process of killing Kublai, or taking him down, if not kill him, since he killed that prostitute, which I believe was his mother or whatever. So I feel like he's been in the process of this for at least 12 years. Or at least 10 years, if not the whole 12 years. So, yeah, because the only reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like when Ahmed said not so much turned around as come around. I feel like he's saying that with it, like he's saying that he's come around or come around in the last like year. So it's only been like recently that he's done, like he's come around, but I don't think that. Anyway, back to the episode. So Marco and Kublai then make it to the outskirts of Xanadu, but Kublai says that they aren't going to the city exactly. So Marco and Kublai then go to their real destination, which is the real hunting grounds. And you see, fake Kokachin is clearly, visibly pregnant, and you also see Kublai ask Arban where his brother is, which the only reason why I'm saying his name is because I feel like he's going to be somewhat important later on, a little bit later, whether it's in another episode, in one of the next episodes, or in season 3 or something. So I feel like he's going to be kind of important. And anyway, so Arvan says his brother, that his brother will be here soon, and his brother's name is Gerald or Gerald. I'm not sure if you pronounce it with a soft or hard G or whatever, but anyway, so I feel like those two brothers are going to be important later on. That's the only reason why I'm saying their name, because I feel like they're going to be important. Because previously, whenever a new character's name has been said, I don't necessarily, name them in my recap and reviews, because I don't know for sure if they're going to be important or not. So that's why I'm only saying them now. Anyway, so people are paying their respects to fake Kokachin and her having a good pregnancy and everything. And as they do so, the real Kokachin calls out her name, Nugui, from the crowds, and Nugui actually turns around and sees the real blue princess walking among the crowds and everything. And later that night, everyone is having a good time in this big tent. Who I feel like it's similar to Kublai's a House of Five Desires, but it's not actually a house, I should say. It's more, to me it seems like a tent, but I don't know, I guess I shouldn't really say call it a tent, but anyway. And then this old man that was, you saw earlier, paying respects to fake Kokachin, is brings in a tribute for Kublai, and he's giving it giving Kublai this tribute, and it's a woman who happens to be what everyone regards as beautiful and an exceptional singer, and Marco actually says that she's exceptional, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, dude, really? Keep it in your motherfucking pants. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, get it together. Get it together. And keep it in your pants. I was literally thinking this at this particular, because I knew what he wanted. I could tell by the way he said, like, she was exceptional, and the look on his face that he was like, he wanted to sleep with her and everything. And I'm like, dude, keep it in your pants. Keep it in your pants. Please do this. Anyway, Kaidu's mother talks with Ahmed, with Kaidu's objections, and they're just talking about, I guess making an alliance and everything, and there was that. I don't know. Didn't really think too much of it, because come on, it's not. To me, they didn't really say anything that was, of utmost importance. That's why I didn't write anything down about it. But anyway, so Marco and Jingham are walking around, visibly drunk. They're clearly drunk, or at least Jingham is drunk. And Jingham says his marriage to Koka-chin is different because she is different. And as they kind of talk about that for a little bit, a white horse suddenly that was doing tricks beforehand run, and then, or at least I think that's the same horse. Can't be sure just because not all horses are the same. Just because even though they have like white fur. Anyways, so this white horse runs past them suddenly and startles them. And as they get up and walk calmly towards the horse to try to calm him down, Jingham says, "This is what happens when stable boys fall asleep." He's so, I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, I won't say anything just because, like, I don't know. I'm not a stable boy, so I can't say anything. But as they get closer, they realize the horse has blood cut like underneath its eyes, and it's clearly blind at this point. Like, it's clearly blind. So Jingham and Marco go tell what they saw to Kublai, and he's just brushing them off. Marco's like, well, there were no other marks on the well, first Kublai said that the horse must have gotten lost in the woods or something, and Marco was like, well, there's no other scrap marks on the body like Kublai suggesting there is, and that it was a specific such unique attack directed at an allegiance or something like that. But Kublai is stubborn as always and says, or it was a child's prank, and Kublai just continues to rebut them even though they bring up valid points. At this point, Kublai is getting on my nerves because he's not listening to fucking anybody. He's not listening to fucking anybody. And if he dies because of this, I'm not going to be that mad about it. I really am not. I'm not going to be upset about it because his ass is really not listening to anybody who he supposedly says he trusts. Because Marco brought this shit up. Literally brought this shit up like 2 episodes ago. And he literally brought this shit up like 2-3 episodes ago. And even fucking Chavi brings this shit up. Like, Chavi's bringing this shit up. And it's like, come on. Like, if not only one person is saying this shit, but multiple people are saying that you aren't listening to the people you supposedly say you trust, then you're gonna end up dying sooner rather than later because you're being blind. You're fucking blind right now. Like, you're choosing to not heed someone's advice that you say that you trust. So if he dies, I'm not going to be mad about him dying. I'm not going to shed any tears. I'm not going to be upset about it because he had ample opportunity to take someone else's advice for a change other than Ahmed's, and he didn't because to me, he's acting stupid. And that's just all there is to it. So, getting on the episode, Chavi goes looking for fake Koka-chin and finds her sitting under a tree. Even though Chavi tries to take the fake Koka-chin somewhere else, the fake Koka-chin's like, the real blue princess found her and says that she's in Xanadu and that she wants everything back. Meaning her entire life back. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't know. I just think that the scene was pretty good in my opinion because I think if what happened later in the episode didn't happen, then it sounded like I feel like this episode would have been longer and more fake Koka-chin would have been exposed in this episode. So I don't know. That's just me. Cuddlin then asks Oris where Kaidu is, and he tells her he is in Kambalak with his grandmother so they can meet and talk to Ahmed. And as she leaves, he shouts after her to ask where she's going, and she doesn't respond. So yeah, that happened. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Cuddalon is going to end up doing or saying something that will end up getting her, if not killed, then eventually injured to the point that she could be killed or almost dies. I don't know. That's just my thought process. I mean, if that actually comes true, then there's another prediction that came true. I don't know. Anyway, so Bianba is cleaning up some of the burn parts of South China when he notices some men pulling a cart with items in it, and he goes he starts going up to the cart that's being dragged by these soldiers and walks with them as he asks what they are, and it's revealed that it's black powder and that they've been doing this for weeks now. And Bayamba asks where they are, taking this black powder to, and the man doesn't share that information. He then goes over to the general and asks where the black powder is going. He answers that it's going to Kamblock, and Bayamba's like, well, I saw this black powder, some of the same black powder being hauled somewhere else besides Kamblock, to the west, I think he said it was. And the general asks him if he knows every road to the capital. Mama's like, well, Kamblock's not home, so of course I know. So of course I know every road that goes to the capital. The general says it's none of his concern, just get back to work. Then Hundred Eyes is in a field, seen in a field, and they kind of just do that for like I don't even think 30 seconds. And then goes back to the hunting grounds where Marco watches the woman tribute, and she comes up to him and starts talking to him to talk. Then they go to the horses and continue talking there. And I'm just like, oh my god, Marco, please keep it in your pants. I was still going, please keep it in your pants, because I was like, Marco, I have a feeling that if you do this, something bad's gonna happen to you because of it. He doesn't fucking care about the consequences of his actions. So, I mean, anyway. So she says that she's afraid that he'll fall in love with her, because that's what it seems all the men who look at her for the first time do and then they leave and everything, and then they go to his tent and they end up having sex. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, Marco, one of these days you're gonna end up getting a girl pregnant. And it's gonna be found out you got her pregnant before you were allowed to touch a woman. Because at the beginning of season 1, I'm fairly certain I remember Kublai telling Marco that he's not allowed to touch a woman whatsoever until Kublai has said he could, or says he can. And up until this point, in episode 6 of season 2, I have not heard Kublai tell Marco that he can have sexual relations with a woman, let alone touch her. So I feel like this is gonna bite him in the ass. I swear to God. I mean, I may have predicted that Fake Coco-chan and Cuddalon were gonna get pregnant because of him previously. Obviously, that those two predictions are not gonna come true. But I feel like this is different. I definitely feel like this is different, and that he's gonna end up having sex with this woman, get her pregnant, and then he's gonna get like what's the word I'm looking for? He's gonna get punished for it, because he wasn't allowed to have sexual relations with any woman yet. He hasn't gotten permission from Kublai to have sexual relations with any woman yet. So, at least as far as I've seen on screen, and it hasn't been alluded that Kublai has said that Marco can have sex with someone yet. So I'm over here thinking, like, This is gonna bite him in the ass. This is gonna bite him in the ass, and I'm telling you, I feel it in my bones. It's gonna bite him in the ass. I feel it in my bones. It's gonna bite him in the ass. And honestly, I'm not gonna be mad that he's gonna get punished for it because he was warned not to fucking have sex with women yet, and he didn't fucking listen. So yeah, I feel like that's gonna happen. So that's one of my predictions. I'm gonna get back to that when I make predictions at the end of this whole thing. But I'm predicting it now. Just saying. Just saying. Then it goes back to Con Block where Ling goes up to Nan and compliments him on his necklace, and she tells him to not be sad before Ahmed interrupts them and tells her to go, play somewhere. And Ling goes off a little bit away and starts playing with the something. I don't even know what it was. And Ahmed, excuse me, tells Nan that the Khan bound her feet. Okay, pause this for a second. I'm sitting over here thinking, Ahmed, please die a horrible death. Please do, because you and your fucking lies are pissing me off. So please die a horrible death. Please do, because at this point you're a bastard and you have no right to live anymore. So please die a horrible death. Anyway, so Nan asks if the Khan has been cruel to her, and Ahmed's like, very. Like, really? No. Anyway, Maylin, it seems like Maylin sees this whole conversation because you see the camera, pan up to the place where she was standing beforehand when she watched Ling play the instrument in the previous episode. So I'm assuming she heard this conversation, but it's not quite totally clear if she has. But anyway, so then goes to Ahmed going up to Maylin's room, and she asks if Ling is on the way to Xanadu, and he says Chabi can't know Ling is missing until after the challenge between Kublai and Kaidu. And Maylin's like, so is it done? And he says, almost. But the Christian prince needs one final nudge, the kind only a mother can provide. And okay then, that whole thread doesn't just up and disappear later in this episode. So we'll get back to that. Then Bayamba is seen making his way to his horse, and he's confronted by the general, and the general asks if he knows what happens to deserters, and Bayamba's like, says the one word, death. Bayamba says he will follow the powder barrels, but the general says he has to go back to what he was doing before, and stick to heeding the general's command. Bayamba asks if there's anything he can say or do to make the general turn around and walk away. The general doesn't say anything, and it just, kind of steps up to him and just stares at him. And so Bayamba starts hitting him, and Bayamba just keeps hitting him and hitting him and hitting him before he says to tell them that he did this to him, and they may just pardon him before he ups and rides off. Then you see Fake Kokachin in a bath, sitting in a bath for like few seconds before the real Blue Princess pushes her head down into the water, but she doesn't kill her. She stops holding her head under the water and allows Nergui to sit up. And the Blue Princess reveals she knows Nergui told Chabi about her, and Nergui tries to deny it, but the Blue Princess doesn't buy it. The Blue Princess says Chabi isn't on their side, but Nergui says that she is, and that Chabi is her mother. The real Blue Princess is like, well, no, your mother died when Kublai and Chabi's army invaded their city, which is true. Oh well, I guess it's true. I mean, they pretty much killed most, if not all, the people. So, Nergui then says Chabi is her friend, but the Blue Princess asked if Chabi was her friend when she forced Nergui to lay under the stable boy, but Nergui doesn't really say anything. And then so the Blue Princess says she only ever had one true friend in the court, which is Marco. The next morning, Marco gets knocked on the door, on his tent door, as the woman is still laying there, and eventually he goes out, and Marco goes up to Kublai and Jingham as they tend to the blind horse. And Marco asks if it wasn't Kaidu, who was it? I don't think Kublai tells him an answer, but all he really does is tell Jingham to put the horse out of his suffering, and so Jingham does this, and it's kind of like, I mean, as much as I would agree that not to put the horse down, I also have to agree that the horse shouldn't be any more suffering than it already should be or already is, and the only real humane thing to do is to like kill it, because it's clearly in distress, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna be in any less distress than distress if it lives and continues to live. So yeah. Okay, so then it goes to the old man and Kublai talking, and the old man says that there are people who would rather see him dead, Kublai dead, than be forced to bow down to him as Khan. And Kublai asks why he should care, and the old man says Kublai is afraid. Kublai says he has devoted his life to these people, but the old man says they can only aspire to a certain level, as like, just having sex or eating, and that they should that they need to see, hold, and feel the future. So he's pretty much, what he's saying is Kublai has to sell them a future that they could see, hold, and feel. So, which is not really any bad advice, in my opinion. But anyway, so Mei-Ling goes up to Nayan and Kamblock, and talks about her family needing help because she doesn't want her daughter to be forced to become a whore or tortured more than she already has been. She asks how he will treat her daughter, and he says he'll treat her like an angel and she'll want for nothing, and that he will bring her to a heaven up north where people will not only respect her but fear her. Then it goes over to Kaidu's mother, further trying to point him in a direction that she wants him to go. And then it goes to Oris going up behind Cuddlin, who and he tries to take her home, but they only end up fighting / wrestling, and he ends up tapping out anyway. She asks him, when has the grandmother ever done right by their father? Which is, so far I feel that's true, a fairly fair question. And she says that they have to be there for the father, or be there for their father, whatever it is. And it seems like they decided to agree to do this together. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know if it was for real or not, but seems like it was. Anyway, Kublai then faces the hunting grounds, and the people gathered around him, and he speaks to them before releasing fireworks. I didn't really pay attention to what he said, honestly, because it didn't sound like anything that he hadn't already said several times before. So I don't know. Then as the fireworks kind of go up, Marco goes back to his tent and notices something on the entrance to it. He unsheaths his knife and enters before he looks around and finds Negri in there, and he asks her what's wrong, and she reveals the Blue Princess wants her life. Whether it's her actual life, like killing her wise, or just the life that she's leading. And then Nagui said that she needs to run away. But then Marco finds dried blood on Nagui's hands, so It seems like she killed the Blue Princess, but it's not explicitly clear if she did, because the movie doesn't say that she has. She's kind of like all over the place mentally at the moment, so it's not really for sure known for sure she has killed the Blue Princess. Then Marco carries her over to Chavi, and they go to an empty tent. And before Marco leaves, Chavi says only a few people have managed to make her change her mind about them, which I guess could possibly be true. But I'm glad that he was able to change her mind about what what she's already made her mind up about him about as far as that goes. So, she then says to Marco that it'll be best for Nugui's sake to pretend like this had not happened. I suppose that I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I feel like this is gonna end up coming back anyway, and she's gonna end up being worse off than what she is now at the moment. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. Then Kaido goes to Nan and says Nan needs Kaido, and Kaido wants to hear Nan say that, and so he does. Ahmed comes in on the both of them talking a few seconds later, and says that he will handle Kublai, and Nan and Ahmed then take a drink of what's in Nan's cup, and passes it to Kaido before he reluctantly takes a sip. Sorry. And then Ahmed watches Kaido leave, and then Meilin comes up behind him, and they talk for like 30 seconds, and then she leaves. Excuse me. And as Kaido and his mother leave, Cullen orders right up to the pair and asks what happened there. When she repeatedly asks him what happened in there, he ends up slapping her. He says in the future, he is the future Khan of Mongolia, and that she will not question him ever again. So I feel like that whole father-daughter issue is going to keep coming back up, because it hasn't gone away so far. So I feel like it's going to end up coming back anyways. That's just me. But that's not the end of the whole episode. The very last scene is 100 Eyes in the field again, or he's still in the field. I don't know. It's not quite sure whether he's back in the field again, like he left and came back, or if he's stayed in the field the entire episode or what. But anyway, so the woman that, well, I assume it's the woman that was trying to protect the White Emperor. And I assume it's her that comes up into the field, and she goes out. She kind of like goes to the fields where 100 Eyes is, and she doesn't say anything before as she goes up to him, or as she kind of goes to the general location. Or goes up behind him or whatever, before the episode cuts out. So that's the end of the whole episode. Well, like I said, the whole father-daughter issues with Kaido and Cullen are going to come back over and over again until it's either resolved or one of them dies. So that's what I think. Okay, so now on to my predictions. I'm not quite sure exactly if 100 Eyes is working with Ahmed to kill Kaido, but I still don't believe that after that 100 Eyes is as forgiving as he makes himself out to be for Kublai not only enslaving him but blinding him, especially after watching the 100 Eyes special. I just don't believe that he is as forgiving as he makes himself out to be. I really don't. And I something in me tell me that that's gonna come back up sooner or later. So there's that. And like I said before and previously in the while I was recapping this, one of these days Marco is gonna end up. One of these days Marco is gonna end up getting a woman pregnant, and I feel like it's gonna be this woman tribute that was given to Kublai. I feel like it's gonna be her. I just feel it in my bones. It's gonna be her, and he's gonna end up getting punished for it because he had sex before he was allowed to have sex with a woman. Because, like I said, in the beginning of season 1, Kublai said you're not allowed to touch a woman until I say you can, and Kublai hasn't said either on screen or off screen that Marco is allowed to touch a woman. That's just all there is to it. He wasn't given permission, and it wasn't alluded that he was given permission. So I feel like it's gonna end up coming back to bite him in the ass because he decided to fucking like end up having sex with a woman before he was explicitly told that he could. I still think that my next prediction is that I think that Maylin is still gonna end up running away with her daughter. Again, I don't know when this is gonna happen, but I feel like this is gonna happen, and I hope that it happens because I feel like she's always gotten the shorter end of the stick on things. And again, another prediction is that I feel like Nagui, or the fake Kokachin, is gonna end up being outed that she is not really royal. And I feel like the reason why I feel like this is gonna happen is because if Chabi can figure out that she's not actually royal, then I feel like she's gonna end up being outed on a much bigger scale in front of the entire royal court of Kambalak. So I feel like that's gonna end up happening, and I just don't see how Nagui can keep this a secret, especially since Chabi has now figured it out. So I feel like sooner, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I feel like it's probably gonna end up happening. If not by the end of this season 2, then it's gonna end up happening by sometime during season 3. So I guess my newest prediction, my next prediction, which is probably my newest prediction, is that Ahmed is gonna die. I have a feeling he's not. I was thinking he might die by the end of this episode, but he didn't. I feel like just like Sadao was the enemy, the overall enemy of season 1, that Ahmed is the same thing in this season. That he's the overall big bad in this season, and that he's gonna end up being killed by the season finale of season 2. So that's what I think. I mean, I was kind of hoping he'd be killed by the end of this episode, but it's kind of wishful thinking, seeing as how he really hasn't enacted his plan hasn't really been played out all the way yet. So I'm assuming it's gonna end up being played out by the end of episode 10, and that he's gonna end up getting killed. And even if he doesn't get killed, I feel like he's gonna end up getting killed sometime in season 3 if he doesn't. So that's my whole thing. And well, there's actually kind of a new prediction that I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking because Kublai isn't really isn't really listening to anybody else besides Ahmed, he's gonna end up losing his title as Khan because he would rather listen to Ahmed, who obviously has ulterior motives and wishes to see Ahmed, or wishes to see Kublai taken off the throne. That he's gonna end up losing it because he's trusting him rather than trusting everyone else as well and heeding everyone else's advice. So, I mean, even if he doesn't die, I feel like he's gonna end up losing his throne. So that's what I think. And I think that might happen in episode 10, or at least by the end of episode 10. And then I'm gonna even go even further, and that if that happens, then what's gonna happen is in season 3 he's going to try his hardest all the entire season to get his throne back, and that's assuming that's what happens. So those are my predictions for now. With that said, hit like if you like this episode. Comment, please comment about what you guys think of this episode, what I've talked about with what I think happens. And hit subscribe if you want to see more of my videos in the future. I get notifications for my uploads, and I will see you guys in the next episode of whatever I am recapping. Bye.